Hello, Danny. See, I already started wrong, people. Already started wrong. And this is a live stream, so I'm not starting it over. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Danny. The other chick on the other side of the video is my lovely daughter, Maya. And yes, wave, Maya. Okay, now I'm taking you off. And this is what we are calling other than stitching. This is our attempt. This is our first one, other than stitching number one. This is our attempt to make a tight 30-minute video where we are just talking about whatever is not yarny stuff. Saturday stitching is where we're talking about all our yarny crafty stuff. This is what they used to call on listservs the off topic. Okay, so this is the off topic where we talk about whatever, mostly, movie, TV, music, games, whatever kind of stuff is on our mind, but we're trying to keep it to a tight 30 because my girls got places to go and I haven't had anything to eat today other than a bagel and some potato chips. So we're going to make this a tight 30 and out, people. Um, as I said, as with let me start my timer so we can make sure this is a tight 30. As I said with if you've been to our Saturday stitching videos, we are doing these as a live stream just because it's simpler for me to upload it that way. But we don't expect anybody to be here in the chat, so that's fine. If you are here in the chat, I'm going to be pulling that chat up in just a minute so that I can see the chat. But if there's nobody here, that's fine. Maya and I know how to talk. It's all good. But this is going to be, although the Saturday stitching videos are never ultra professional or anything to begin with, this is going to be definitely loosey goosey. Okay. Other than keeping it to a tight 35. Oop, not 35, 30. 30. 30.
Already stretching it. We
I'm
just got started.
30 because she's got to be out of here. She's got places to go. So we're keeping this to a tight 30, but and hopefully my husband's gonna be ordering me some food soon.
Ooh.
So as I predicted, there is no one in the chat but little old me, which is fine. So I had some notes. We planned to do this. We kept meaning to do this. And last week we didn't get to it, and the week before we didn't get to it. All my fault because I wasn't feeling well. So I have notes for the past several weeks, and I don't even remember if any of them are still relevant at this point.
I didn't
So
realize that this class had homework. I do not have any notes.
that's okay. That's okay. You started talking first last time. Do you want me to go first on this video or do you want to go first? Do you have something on your mind? Like that song that keeps ripping through your head.
Okay, so I had one song in my head earlier that I was singing that was the Honey I'm Good, nah nah, Honey I'm Good. That one was stuck in my head, but then another song got stuck in my head because your other daughter got me started watching My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend or Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, that
Oh good
show.
lord. I've never watched it,
Oh,
but I know it's full of music.
oh my word. First of all, the show is like, it's full of awkward, cringy humor, which I normally can't watch, but the music kind of makes it okay. Yeah, I can't do cringe humor. I can't do. That's why I don't watch like Will Ferrell. Everybody raises their eyebrows at me when I say that, but I'm like, I can't watch Will Ferrell. All he does is like embarrassment humor, and I can't do embarrassment humor. It just makes me cringe, and I'm like, stop. But oh my goodness, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I just got to, I think like the fifth or sixth episode maybe, but the not the male lead, not what's his name, Josh, but the other male lead who plays Greg, he finally had his two like solo songs by himself because this is like the second time that he may have had a song in the first episode, but I don't remember the first episode because Chloe and I watched it like months back, and I was like, oh well, since I already saw it, I'll just go ahead and start on the second episode. I'll probably remember it. I didn't remember it, but I didn't go back either, so I'm figuring out my context clues. But he finally had his two songs by himself, and one of them is called "Settle for Me," and he's singing this like it's this like, oh, I guess I should have said spoilers earlier because anyway, spoilers.
This show is in its last season. It's wrapping up its final season, so I think people have already seen the first season.
Well,
If
I
they
mean,
have,
I hadn't.
if they haven't, you've sufficiently warned them. Continue.
But so I'm still way in the first season, but he's singing the song so because he's trying to get because the main character is in love with Josh, and he's trying to say like, hey, since Josh has a girlfriend and we're pretty alright, and he sings a song "Settle for Me," and it's this like jazzy like old school musical number, and it's like they go in black and white, and he's all settle for me, why don't you settle for me, and I'm like, he's my favorite vocalist in the show after hearing most everybody, he is my favorite vocalist in the show so far. I really like him. He's also my favorite character in the show so far, but
Okay,
really enjoyed it.
I
So,
have no intention of watching the show, but I will look up. You may see me, viewers. You may see me writing on my pad from time to time because I will go ahead and look up stuff that people mention to me, and I don't trust my memory anymore. I'm facing 52. I'm old. I'm embracing my elderliness early, and just go ahead and write stuff down before. I'm not even trying to pretend that I can remember stuff anymore. The only stuff that I remember is stuff that does me no good. As I like to say, I remember stuff that's not going to pay me a penny.
man, you have like Jeopardy memory. You remember like Jeopardy facts.
Exactly. Stuff that is not going to pay any money. Your father
Unless you
was
go on Jeopardy.
your father was watching some new game show today on Hulu called Mental Samurai. And I
Ooh,
like
I've
to
heard
watch
of it.
I like to watch these shows and see if I can, figure out the questions and stuff because not to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm usually good when I watch these shows, and it's a fun challenge to me to get the answers right. But this show is not that kind of knowledge show, and I figured it was still fun to watch, but it's not that kind of knowledge show. It's got some knowledge, it's got puzzles, it's got like you have to look at the picture, and then they take the picture away, and it's like, okay, what color bowling pin was he holding in his left hand?
Ooh, no.
No, no,
No, I
no.
am not the one. That is not for me.
If you ask me stuff like who starred in blah 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 in 1982, I have a better chance of that than use some crazy memory something. No, so that's not my kind of mental game. But yeah, so I'm writing stuff down as we go because I will look up videos and songs and things like that.
Yeah, you should look
Um,
up just that song at least because that's a good one.
Look that one up because I've looked up a couple other songs from Crazy Ex Girlfriend and found them mildly amusing. So I just have no. I've reached the point where I know I'm not going to be able to watch everything in the world or read every book in the world or knit every pattern in the world or whatever. So if I don't get enjoyment out of it pretty quick, or if I look at the description and it's like, not for me, I just don't, I just keep it moving because there's so many, we live in an age where there are so many entertainment choices that I can't, I can't waste time on something that I'm not fully enjoying.
Yeah, I
So,
totally understand that.
okay, you got anything else on your mind, or can I jump in?
Go
Not
ahead
that
and
you
jump
can't,
in.
you can't talk while I'm talking. I'm just, if you want to jump in, but I got stuff.
You're good.
Okay,
Go follow your notes.
follow my notes, huh? Well, this isn't actually part of my notes. This came to my mind, and I can't remember the title, but it's a book I was reading because your mother reads romance novels, and I was
Mm-hmm.
reading a Tessa Dare book. I think it was how to. Oh heck, I can't remember. Um, well, it says two people. Are you in the chat?
I am not. I'm just in the video.
So it
So
says
we've
two
got
people.
somebody else there.
Somebody's watching and lurking because they have not outed themselves yet, but that's okay. You don't have to let me know you're here. But there, it was a Tessa Dare book, something about how to marry a Scot or how to scandalize a Scot, or there's some punny name.
Scandalized.
There's some punny name. If I look up my Goodreads, I can tell you exactly what it is. But you were mentioned, if you anybody who watched the last Saturday stitching where she went on a crazy tear about bees. I'm not gonna say any more than that. When you were talking about that, it reminded me of this novel where the hero finally goes up into the heroine's. She has like her own woman cave, she shed, whatever you want to call it.
She shed. What? Is this a thing?
You've never heard of a she shed?
No.
Have you never seen that commercial
I don't
where
watch commercials.
lightning has struck down her she shed or something like that?
No.
A she shed is basically, you know, the shed
It's
that
a
we
man
have.
cave.
You know the shed we have in the back of our house, in
Yeah.
our backyard. Yeah. Well, if we took the inside of that and made it all pretty and put, for me, you'd have to put a comfy chair and a coffee maker and a refrigerator.
So it's a
Nice little,
lady man cave.
yeah, it's a lady man cave. It's a she shed.
Man, I feel like I'd just rather have a man cave.
Well, you can make your she shed look like a man cave. It doesn't have to be necessary. When a Scott ties the knot. I knew
Oh,
I knew it was something that had some sort of pun or rhyme or something like that.
that's cute.
When a Scott ties the knot. So the heroine is a woman who, I'm not going to go through the whole description of the book, but just suffice it to say, she's not your classically feminine. It's a historical
Mm-hmm.
romance. She's not your classical, wants to go to all the balls and stuff like that because she's very shy, and she is very artistic. So she draws pictures of like bugs and lobsters and stuff like that. And she's really trying to get this job where she can draw all these bugs for this encyclopedia. And
Mm-hmm.
so when the hero goes up into her, she has like this woman cave up in the top turret of this castle that they're living in. And he is aghast because there are all these jars and boxes and vials of dead bugs and things like that, and bugs pinned to boards and stuff, so she
See,
can look at them and draw them and stuff like that.
ooh, see, I wouldn't be able to do that. Having because I've looked at taxidermy because one of my favorite YouTubers, well, she's kind of, I don't watch her YouTube as much, but it's, her name's Susie, and she is the wife of Aaron from Game Grumps. And so I see her every once in a while. I used to watch her channel, but not so much. But she does taxidermy, and she sells like taxidermied bugs on Etsy. But I'm just like, because there was one episode of Game Grumps did like they have this like 5 minute, 10 minute power hour thing. And so she came on as a guest and showed them how to taxidermy bugs. And so they had these like spiders that they were like pinning to this board. And I'm just like, oh, this looks like a nightmare. Oh, because you buy them dried and they'll like send you all like whatever bug that you want and all kinds of stuff. And first of all, bugs are expensive. I went to look that up because I was like, oh, okay, maybe like if I really did, because I just like fell down this rabbit hole of how much is like, what is this stuff? Bugs are expensive, like real expensive. And that never occurred to me that would be a thing, but they are.
They can make anything expensive if they turn it into a hobby.
Yeah, apparently. So I'm just going to stick with trying to get some dead bees.
Well, you can watch the other video to learn more about the dead bees. Moving on. Okay. I okay, well this 1 point is no longer valid because they had a free weekend for some game called 2 Point Hospital, but that was last weekend, so we missed it.
All right.
Although I still want to try the game, but I should have tried it last weekend while they were doing the free trial. Okay. There is a podcast that I've listened to on and off called Why'd You Hit That Button? Why'd You Push
What?
That Button? It's called Why'd You Push That Button? Okay, and what let me take a second and say hello to Tracy. Tracy is in the chat room, so say hello to Tracy.
Oh, hi, Tracy. Was Tracy
Tracy,
our lurker?
Tracy was our lurker. Apparently, Tracy watches me on follows me on Instagram.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
I have trouble remembering. I know it may be odd because I asked her, "Do we know each other from somewhere other than YouTube?" Because when I see somebody's name somewhere other than where I know them from, I mean, it's not now. This doesn't happen with people that I've met actually in real life. Okay, it only happens with people that I only know online. So like if I'm used to seeing them on Facebook all the time commenting, and then I see that name or a similar name pop up on Instagram or YouTube or something, it's hard for my brain to go, okay, that's the same person that you know from Facebook. So then when they start talking to me, I'm confused.
I can see that too. I've had that I've had that issue a couple times too of like knowing people across different places. I have this issue in real life, and then we need to get back to the podcast. But I have this issue in real life because I work in a fast food restaurant, so I see so many people in a day, especially because I usually end up working in the drive-through window or on the front counter because I am a
Mhm.
customer service kind of person, and so I see so many people in a day. And so sometimes I'll be like, I'll go to Walmart and someone will like wave at me and be like, "Hey," and I'm like, I know you. I know your face. I recognize you. I don't know why I know you because I see people at my actual job, my fast food job. I see people at the farmers market. I see people I do festivals and things. And so I see because of what I do in my life, I see so many faces throughout the day. And so I've just started telling people, first of all, I know you. And so I'll meet you and I'll be like, "Oh, hi, what's your name? Your name's Danny. Okay. My name's Maya. Feel free to forget my name because I'll probably forget yours." Like feel free because I will not remember your name. I will remember your face, and some of the time, like a lot of the time, I'll remember where I know you, but I will not remember your name. Like almost ever. It's the worst.
I was going to say that I don't have this happen to me in real life, but once you said that, that reminded me that I do have that problem when, um, especially if it's like, because I used to work a lot of temp jobs when you were little and before
Yeah.
you were born. And so I have that problem when it's somebody where I worked at a job and I didn't really get particularly close to the person on that job. We just had a passing acquaintance on the job. We may have had offices across the hall from each other or whatever, and I may have worked there 6 months or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then and then I leave the job and we're 3 months out, and then they run into me at the Walmart. I don't remember you. My brain has erased you because I'm not on that
It's
job
gone.
anymore.
Yep.
So my brain has totally erased who you are, and you still remember me, and you remember my name and everything. I don't remember nothing about you. I don't remember
Well,
anything about you.
I think part of the issue, because some people get mad until I started saying that, like, feel free to forget my name kind of thing. Because some people get frustrated because they'll see me at McDonald's and then they'll see me, I'll be at Walmart and they'll be like, "Oh, hey Maya, how are you?" Blah blah blah. And I'll have to ask them their name again. And they get upset. And I'm like, first of all, I see so many people through a day. I could see like hundreds of people through the day, just like if it's any good, like if it's a market day and a work day, hundreds of people that day, seeing so many people. And first of all, I wear a name tag at work. You do not wear a name tag when you come through the drive through, and you did not
Exactly.
introduce yourself. I don't know your name, and it's not my fault.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we have somebody else in our chat room, LM Loft.
LM
Not sure.
Loft?
LM Loft. Not sure who that is, but
Okay.
hello to LM Loft joining us from Alaska.
Ooh, oh, I bet you're freezing. Oh, that just makes me cold thinking about it.
You're so weird. Okay, so back to the podcast. I've been listening to these podcasts on Spotify called "Why'd You Push That Button?"
Mm-hmm.
I think it's through a website called The Verve,
Okay.
VERVE.
Yeah.
But I found it randomly on Spotify because Spotify bought they bought some other podcasting network, and
Did
so
they?
now yes, and so now they're really ramping up the amount of podcasts they have on Spotify. So like if you use Spotify, okay, Ellen Loft says it's about 50 degrees and no snow in Alaska, so she's not cold right now. Good for her.
50
And
degrees still
or
feels cold to
yeah,
me. I need to be a comfortable 70. I don't you can't see right here, but this block, if you can see me on the screen, this block right here, that's a heater under my blanket.
I'm
And
about
it
to
is
pull you
not 50 degrees here.
about to pull you up so they can see how crazy you look with this blanket over your head.
I'm
And
cold.
there's a heater over there under the blanket.
Yeah,
You are gonna set yourself on fire.
I am not.
You are
I
gonna
do it all
set
the time.
you are gonna set yourself on fire.
It's not like a
Okay.
really
If you have to move back in with me, you can't bring that dog and cat. That's all I'm gonna say.
can we turn that can I have a she shed? Can I turn that shed in the backyard into my she shed?
I don't think so. I don't think
I'll
so. It
keep
has
the
to
dog
be
in there. Wayne would
yes.
take the cat because that cat doesn't like anybody but him. But I'm keeping my dog.
Don't burn the house down because you're not bringing the cat and dog over here. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, don't push that button. Or why'd you push that button that we keep trying to talk about?
Well, Ellen Loss says that she's been watching my page for a little bit and was finally able to catch a live chat. Well, good for you.
Oh,
Lisa
sweet.
May. Okay, she's Lisa May. Okay.
Lisa May. All right.
Okay, LM. I'll call you LM or Lisa May, whichever one you prefer. Happy to have you with us. Don't feel bad about not being able to catch a live chat because we're barely here at the same time every week anyway. All I can say is that it's sometime after 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's as close as we get. Okay, so the podcast. We're 20 minutes in and I'm already off topic.
Hmm.
So but it's about so basically Spotify is expanding their podcasts. So if you like to listen to podcasts and you hadn't been able to find podcasts before on Spotify, I like to have all my stuff like that in one place. So to be able to listen to music and podcasts, audio podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
all on the same player, so I don't have to find 15 different players to watch stuff because like
Yeah.
there's a lot of podcasts that are exclusive to Stitcher, and I don't want to have to go on the Stitcher app and then go back to Spotify and then go to another one. The only one I make an exception for is NPR. I have the NPR One app, and I will listen to NPR One for news, but then I want all my other podcasts to be on Spotify. It just
Yeah,
makes more
I stopped listening to a couple podcasts just because they weren't on Spotify because there's one podcast that I really like called One Shot, and the only place that I can find it to listen to it is the you know how the Android has the Android Play, and then they have like I think an Android podcast like section or whatever, and I can find One Shot on there because it's the equivalent of the iTunes app basically. But I can't. They don't have it on Spotify yet, which is really frustrating because it's a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, and they well not just Dungeons and Dragons. It's like role playing games, and the only place that I can find it to listen to is that app.
you froze for a second.
Ah, oh, basically all I was saying was the only place I can find it to listen to is that Android app, and it's not on Spotify yet. Which I don't know why they're not on Spotify yet, but they're not, and it's very
Well,
frustrating.
a lot of podcasts aren't on Spotify, and they're adding more and more every day. That's why I mentioned it because if you check back in a few weeks or a month, you'll see that they may have added your
Yeah,
podcast. I'm seeing a lot of my podcasts being added every week. More are being added. So but the why'd you push that button podcast? It's these two girls, and it's about I say girls because I'm an old woman. They're probably in their 30s,
mm,
or 20s at least, but that's still girls to me. And they talk about things that are I don't know how to describe it, but it's mostly digital things. And they talk about why they don't really give you any answers. It's just more of a discussion about why somebody might do a certain thing.
give me an
Like
example.
why, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm about to pull Spotify on my tablet.
Hmm.
See, I told you guys the other than stitching is gonna be a lot more loosey goosey then because normally I would try not to look at my tablet or something like that on the other podcast or on the other vlog because I'm trying
Doing
to.
it again.
I know. I'm taking my glasses off because I can't read my tablet with my glasses on because I'm.
Well, while you're
We,
doing that,
we've
I'm about
we've
to
already gone
finish this
through.
scrunchie.
We've already gone through the saga of why my glasses are messed up. So We won't go through that again, but okay. And it's through the Verge, not the Verb.
Okay.
VERG. Okay. And some of their podcasts have been that I watched, I mean I listened to that I enjoyed have been why would you super like somebody on Tinder? Why do you
Okay.
turn on read receipts?
Okay.
Why do you hit like on celebrity photos on Instagram? Why do you share streaming service passwords?
Oh, that sounds interesting, actually.
Um,
Like some of just the ones that you've read off.
yeah, that kind of. What's the other one? Do you take selfies in public? Um,
Almost never.
why do you have a fake Instagram?
Ooh,
Why
I
do
know
you
people that have shady Instagrams.
why do you unfollow me? Why do you delete your tweets? What makes a place Instagram worthy? How do you choose your emoji skin tone? And what I listened to last week, why do you post on fake holidays?
On fake holiday?
You know, the holidays that are manufactured like today
National
is
Donut Day.
yes, National Donut Day. That's what they call a fake holiday. And they break down like what's a fake holiday, what's a semi fake holiday, what's a traditional holiday like Christmas and stuff. Okay, even though this isn't a Yarny podcast, the people in the chat want to see what everybody's working on. So go ahead and hold that scrunchie back up there.
I got my scrunchie done. I didn't weave in the ends yet, so ignore that. But I got my scrunchie done.
Yes,
The
you
only
make
thing,
you giant scrunchies. That's almost a headband.
because that's how I like them. Because they're really big. These are enough to be able to wrap up my yarn braids. If I were to pull back my yarn braids, this stretchy stretches out enough for me to be able to do that. And that's how I like it. I tested it. Well, sort of tested it. I used this stretchy to pull back my yarn braids. And then I have a friend that has, her name is Cree. She's the owner of the Forest Fair, which is a shop down the road from me. And she's got really long dreads. And so I made one of the scrunchies with one of the big ones. And I gave it to her as a gift because she was super nice and gave me some little dream catcher tags for my dream catchers. And so I gave it to her, and she's like, it is the perfect size, and it was a good color for her, but it was big enough to be able to stretch over her dreads. So I'm like, okay, this is a good size for scrunchies, at least the stretchy part of it, for people to be able to wear it no matter what kind of hair they have, unless you're like Mountain Rapunzel or something. But
Well,
yes, I
yes,
like
I know.
big scrunchies, big poofy
I
scrunchies.
like big scrunchies, and I cannot lie. Okay. Um. Yes, use that joke twice. Um. Lisa May says she is on Ravelry. She
Fun.
uses her Ravelry name because I know you can't see the chat, so I'm letting you know her Ravelry name is Genealogy 99.
Ooh,
Or
okay. And I
59,
can,
59, 59, 59.
well, I can go back and watch the stream later, and I'll pull it out of the chat room so I can follow her. We can make
Okay,
a
so it'll
little
pull up
Ravelry
for
group.
you. Okay, okay.
Yeah, if you go back and watch the YouTube streams, even if they're live streams, you can turn on the live chat. You can't say anything in the live chat, but you can see what people were saying before.
Okay.
So I can go ahead and pull that up and follow her, and we can make just a little YouTube
I'm
Ravelry group.
well, I'm writing it down anyway because I'll go on Ravelry and she'll send me a friend request, and then I'll forget why she's sending me a friend request and who she is, and then I will deny her. So we don't want to do that.
Oh,
Because
speaking
I
of podcasts, though. Oh, go ahead.
no continue.
Speaking of podcasts, so I know you don't like the murder cast that I listen to, but
Ugh.
through my murder cast, I found another podcast because it was someone that like they listen to. It's this podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's by, I think her name is Allie Ward, and it's called
Yes,
Ologies.
I know Allie Ward.
Have you heard her podcast Ologies?
I don't know her, but no, I haven't heard that one. But she had another one that she used to do with a friend of hers.
Mm-hmm.
Allie Ward's been around for a minute because her and this other woman used to do YouTube videos about mixing drinks, and
Oh,
she
I
used
didn't
to
know
do
that.
these cocktails. But I see Allie Ward every Saturday because she is on um oh heck um um
Um, 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 um.
It comes on before the inspectors on Saturdays on CBS. So it comes on like at 10:30, I think. Either 10:30 or 11:30. And
Mm.
it's got the host is Mo Rocca. It's at the Henry Ford. They hosted at the Henry Ford Museum in Michigan. I
Do you
got
need to
every.
bring up your TV list right now?
It's just like I remember everything about it, but it is like totally. Lisa May said, "Hey to you, Maya." Um,
Oh, hi.
it's totally. Um, I can't even. It says Lisa May's already friended me, so I guess. I guess I friended her and didn't even remember. I'll have to look at my Ravelry when we get off of here. Um, I can't. Oh, I can't remember what is it.
Anyway, while you're
Innovation,
trying to remember that,
Innovation
her
Station. Anyway, it's kind of like an educational show, and they talk to inventors and stuff like that. And
yeah,
she interviews people, and she does the thing at the end where because it's supposed to be kind of like a kid show for like maybe 10-year-olds or something,
yeah.
not like baby kids, but like maybe middle school kids. And so they define words at the end, and so she does the definitions at the end.
Well, that's cool. Well, her podcast ologies is I guess sort of like that, but she's been interested in all these people that like have really specific like focuses in their either jobs or hobbies or whatever. And so she'll find an ologist and just like interview them about what they do. So the first episode was a volcanologist, who someone who studies volcanoes, and she's
Mm-hmm.
had which that one was a pretty good one. And then she's had a cosmetologist, a cosmologist, someone
Which I
who's
think is like
cosmology.
right, like
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, space and stuff.
See, your mother knows stuff. Your mother.
But she had, I was just making sure I was saying the right word, but she's had cosmetologist, cosmologist. There was a horologist, which I was like, what is this? Because I didn't know what it was when I just saw the word. Study, it's watches. This guy makes like mechanical watches. So not like there's no battery whatsoever. And the watch like winds itself from the movement of your wrist, which I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know that's how mechanical watches worked. Second of all, I didn't know
That
anyone was
I
still
did know
making.
that. I did not know the thing about horologists. I would have thought that would be like a chronologist or some other that
Yeah,
deals with
I thought so
time.
too, but it's HOROLOGIST, horologist. But he makes mechanical watches, which I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know that was still a thing. Second of all, I didn't know those were so expensive. But he was talking about how like most of the parts in the watch, he puts them in by hand, and they're like the size of a grain of rice, and he uses this like giant magnifying glass. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so crazy. And then there was a gemologist, which I really liked that episode because I'm a hippie living in the mountains. And so she was talking about different like gems and like not. She was talking sort of about the hippie side of things, but also about. Did you just turn on a fan or something?
What?
What was that? Did you just turn on a
What?
fan or something? What was that?
No. I put down my phone on top of my laptop.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. I think it like shook or something.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, a bunch of different things. She talked there. Oh, I can't remember what it was, but someone who studies like death and dying, which I thought was going to be a really depressing, like stressful episode, but it really wasn't because she was a
That
very like.
um I bet I know who she talked to because that woman has a book out about the funeral industry and stuff.
Oh,
And
does she?
if it's the same woman,
It might be. I can't pull it up because I'm on my phone with the
yeah,
stream.
yeah, but
But you should check it out. It's a really good podcast. It's very like interesting to listen to. It's super cash because I started listening to I've been trying to find something to listen to while I'm going to sleep because I like to like I was playing YouTube videos when I go to sleep and I'm like this is using up too much phone battery and it's keeping me actually awake because I keep wanting to try to watch the videos. And so I've been trying to find something to listen to while going to sleep. And man, let me tell you, don't listen to a murder podcast when you're going to sleep.
well,
Oh,
duh, well,
well,
duh.
I don't know why I thought it was going to be okay. Cause like a lot of times I'll listen to stuff when I'm going to sleep and it doesn't really affect my dreams or anything. It's just like whatever. Man, I did it a couple times. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. And then one night I was just nightmare about a murderer chasing me through the street. It was awful. Ooh, never again. Cause the ladies that do my murder podcast, Karen and Georgia, they're funny ladies and they like chat and stuff like that. But it just for some reason that one just clicked and was awful and just nightmare city.
No, I don't. You know, I don't listen to stuff like that before
Hmm.
we go to bed. Time check. It is 34 minutes. It's 7:37. I know you got to get out of here at 7:45. Let's
Yes.
see if I can mention a couple more things before we get off of here. Two podcasts that I've been enjoying that talk about, because I've been looking for podcasts that talk about Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
or not just Netflix, but like streaming services. In particular, now that we're using Netflix and Hulu
You're
and
welcome.
Amazon. Thank you. Well, how about you send a thank you this way? Who's paying for the Netflix? Who's paying
Thank
for the
you.
Netflix? You're welcome. Okay. So, okay, Lisa May asked for the schedule for this live feed. Generally, Lisa May, our Saturday stitching, we aim to start at 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 4:30 Eastern time. Okay, because we're on the East Coast. So we aim to start between 4 and 4:30 Eastern time. Okay, and we aim to finish that put smiling in my mind. We aim to finish that video in an hour, and that is Saturday Stitching is talking about our crafting stuff, and then we take a 15-minute break. This is the first time we've done it tonight, but we take a 15-minute break, and then we start this one, which is other than stitching, where we talk about TV or random silly stuff like we're doing right now. This is the first night that we've done it. So
Because
I
we
told
usually
Rob,
run it all together into one video, but it was getting really, really long. So we decided to split it up so that anybody who was just here for the stitching could watch the first video, or anybody who just wanted to hear us talk, which I don't know who that would be, but they could listen to the second video.
well, Lisa May said that she's enjoying the conversation this evening. So
Oh, that's fun.
so
Awesome.
that's really cool. But that was my hope that once I got my daughter on here, and because I tried doing the videos by myself, and I have things that I want to say, but when I'm just talking to the camera, all of a sudden I clam up, and my daughter can attest that I'm a talker, so that makes no sense. But when we're talking to each other, which I think is the truth for most people, when they're talking to each other, they can
It's easier to bounce ideas off of somebody.
exactly, exactly. It's easier to see if your jokes are landing. It's easier to see if what you're saying is interesting, or if the other person would rather veer off into something else. It's just, and me as a listener, I know me as a listener, I do like to listen to shows where, like when I listen to audio podcasts, I like to listen to roundtable discussions where everybody has their opinions and they can talk about different things.
You still there?
Lisa May, are you there?
You disappeared on me for a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my internet connection today has been really crappy, so I was surprised that we got any video done today. Lisa May asked if we are in the same city. We are not in the same city. So we live 2 hours. We're in the same state, Lisa May. We're in North Carolina, but we are not in the same city. We are 2 hours away from each other. Okay, Maya is my oldest daughter. We live 2 hours away from each other. And since I am a bad mother, I don't call her very often. I don't call her at all. So us doing this video together is is
Is us
is our
talking
way
for
of,
the week.
basically, this is our way of talking to each other. Because I'm not one of those mothers who's like, I need to be all up under my children. When they move out and they leave, then I expect they have lives and they don't have time to talk to me. So I don't call them because I don't want to be bugging them. I don't want to get on the phone and feel them saying, hurry up, mommy, hurry up, mommy, hurry up, mommy. I don't want to feel that like I'm holding them up for something. So I don't call them a lot. So this is this is us talking to each other for
Ooh,
me.
your
She
iPhone is vibrating on the laptop.
Oh, that's probably daddy asking me. Oh yeah, he's asking me what I want to eat. Okay, because it's 7:42. So and he's showing me the menu board for the place where they're eating, and it is 7:42. So we need to be wrapping this up so I can get some food. Because like I said, in case you missed it, Lisa May, all I've had today is a bagel, some coffee, and I had 2 pieces of chewy fruit candy. Does that count? And some potato chips. And it is, it's dinner time. I need food. So I need to tell him what to get me before he gets me something nasty like chicken livers. And
Ugh.
Maya needs to boot up out of here. So we will move all of my points that I have to talk about because I saw 2 more podcasts that I
Hmm.
want to talk about plus some other stuff to talk about to you next week.
And maybe
So
next time I'll actually have notes.
And so Poppy is calling me now. So I got to get out of here. So
So do
thank you.
I.
Thanks. Yes, Lisa May, we will catch you next Saturday. Thanks for coming to hang. I will try to put up an announcement at least 15, 20 minutes before we get on so that you have some kind of warning that we're coming. Okay? So bye, y'all.
Goodbye.